There's really four main categories, which we touched on briefly, of content generation. So if you've never created content, don't be afraid, right? It can be terrifying to post something on social media and then wait for the whole world to like weigh in. Again, you chose the right industry. People in the Salesforce ecosystem are generally nice people, right? They're not going to attack you, but you do have to be brave, and you do have to post, and you do have to post consistently if you want this whole thing to work. If you don't post, I'll go so far as to say your brand's not going to be as successful, right? Because again, if you're not popping in people's feed, they're going to forget about you. So what do you post? Questions, accomplishments, reshared. What that means is that's content that's not original, that you've pulled from other sources. So maybe Antonella posts something and I go, that's really cool. And I reshare that. Credit who you're sharing the content from. They deserve credit too, right? But reshare that. And that's a very quick and easy post that you don't really have to think about, because you're just resharing and you're thanking them for the content. Really quick thank you message. And it will generate some interactions for your brand and help you build that. Other things you can do to reshare content is go look at the release notes, or go listen to a podcast, and then type up a really quick summary of the things that were meaningful to you. They weren't your thoughts, right? Someone else said them, so be sure you credit them. But just hey, Antonella, was at Salesforce Saturday, and she said these 3 things during the session. It was really impactful, so cool, and here's a link to that recording. And then boom, not only have you promoted Antonella, so she's going to be happy with you, and she's maybe going to help promote you, but you've also promoted yourself through resharing her content. And then you get to the point where you're generating your own content. These are some very early posts that I created that fall into each one of those buckets. So here's the question. Here's like when I was brand new, and I simply asked her question, help me out here. How do I study? Right. And so at the time, you can see there's 40 reactions, there's 39 comments, and it got more than that. So 39 people took the time to weigh in, and ultimately I passed the exam thanks to their help. So it helped me professionally, but it got my brand out there. And I mean, so what is it, like 3 sentences? Not hard to think about. And people on this call mentioned they were studying for the admin exam. Put out a post on Monday that says, hey, I'm studying for the admin exam. What are your top 5 tips? Guarantee you it's going to hit. You're going to get some exposure, and you're going to get some knowledge. This is where I share an achievement. And this is that post I was referencing earlier where I hit 11-time Ranger. At the time, it had 194,000 views, almost 1,000 reactions. This one did really well, again, because people love celebrating your accomplishments. And so when you make Ranger, when you get a super badge, when you pass your admin exam, post about that. Always include a picture. I think statistically, it's like it gets 11 times more views if you have a picture in there. Use some emojis. I always use emojis because it captures that attention really quickly. Make it succinct to the point. Include @mentions, right? @mention Salesforce, @mention Salesforce admins, @mention Trailhead, @mention Trailhead by Salesforce. Hashtag the same, right? Because that increases your exposure and your searchability. This falls into the bin of resharing, right? So I didn't create certification days. I think it's got 85 reactions, 7 comments, and 5,600 views, which is decent, right? 5,000 views is, you're doing all right. And I didn't create any of that. I'm just putting it out there. So it's effective and it's easy. That's at the crawl stage when you're like, I don't know what to post. Well, post stuff that you didn't create and credit your source. And here's that original content. All right, so I did borrow Salesforce's template. That's not mine. I shared my goals for the next year. And this one had 15,000 views. So again, a decent number of views because people love sharing accomplishments. And I had posted about what I accomplished last year, what I was getting ready to do, and they love goal setting in this ecosystem. So that got really great results. So that's just a really quick crash course in how do you create content and what does it look like.